against Mario Barrios. You called most, if not all, of Manny's most substantive fights over the years. What do you think of that?
Sad, you know, just sad that he feels any reason or
Now
urge
on
whatsoever.
based on who based on who Pac used to be. Pac just ain't that guy no more. Mario too slow, takes too many punches. But as far as that fight goes, man, I'm at the point now. I hate to see some of these guys come back and get in the ring. It's what they want to do.
Boxing professionals evaluated Manny Pacquiao after his press conference and face-off with Mario Barrios, and many believe the fight would be a suicide mission for Pacquiao due to the significant height difference. Barrios appeared like a hungry giant against an aging Pacquiao, and these experts couldn't hide their concerns. One notable figure who has predicted the fight's outcome is highly respected trainer Robert Garcia, known for working with fighters like Anthony Joshua, Nonito, Donaire, and Bam Rodriguez.
We're gonna be worried about what happens in that fight because, Barrios maybe the I don't want the easiest of the champions. Maybe that's why Manny decided to come back and give it a try. But even then, Barrios is young. Barrios is a strong guy. That could actually hurt Manny. Manny didn't look good in his last performance. It was, and this is a couple years ago, and it was kind of embarrassing to
Speaking
see
to
Manny.
EA's News, Garcia confidently backed Barrios to prevail against Pacquiao, claiming the younger fighter will have the advantage over the veteran Pac-Man. He said, "I've got to go with Barrios. He's young, and he's the champion. Pacquiao's, what, like 46 already? At that age, that's too much. It's like me getting in the ring, and I'm 49. The announcement of 46-year-old Manny Pacquiao coming out of retirement to fight reigning World Boxing Council welterweight champion Mario Barrios has been met with significant criticism from fans and media pundits
This is
alike.
embarrassing, but it's also a bit disgraceful. Manny Pacquiao, as you just said, 46 years of age, hasn't won a fight in 6 years, and you're correct, he got beat quite handily by Yadinas Ugas 4 years ago. He had an exhibition fight a year ago, and he was awful in that. It was a draw because there were no judges, and both men got their hand raised, but he got beat up in that. So it was clear to see that.
This was conveyed by the sentiment DAZN boxing analyst Ade Oladipo
This
shared
sentiment
on
was expressed by DAZN boxing analyst Ade Oladipo on May 13th, when he said, "This is embarrassing, but it's also a bit disgraceful. Manny Pacquiao, as you just said, is 46 years old. It's clear that he can no longer perform at any level, let alone at world championship level. Pacquiao is a volume fighter, and you can't maintain that kind of output at 46. It's just not going to happen. I find what the WBC is doing almost comical."
No longer do it at any level, let alone world championship level. Manny Pacquiao's a volume fighter. I mean, you look at sort of the fight cards in the last couple of weeks, and we've been bemoaning the fact that these guys have no output. Manny Pacquiao's been known over the years, output. You can't do that type of output at 46. It's just is not going to be there. I find it quite just, it's almost comical what they're doing. Fighters will always want to fight. I mean, boxing is littered with fighters that want to come back and have a fight.
During another interview with Boxing Scene, Robert Garcia said, "I think we're going to be worried about what happens in that fight. Barrios is young. Barrios is a strong guy who could actually hurt Manny. Manny didn't look good in his last performance a couple of years ago, and it was kind of embarrassing to see him end up like that. Hopefully, he gets in really good shape. But I don't see things going right for Manny at this point anymore. Hopefully."
He gets in great shape. Maybe he gets a really good nutritionist or somebody that's going to help him very well. But I don't see things going right with Manny at this point anymore. Hopefully I'm wrong. I would love to see him become champion again because, like Paulie said, they give other guys a big fight, a big opportunity, and maybe we'll see Floyd come back and do a rematch with Manny, and it'll be a huge fight. I don't know. I really don't know. But it might be sad to see
He
Manny
later
back in the ring.
added that it might be sad to see Manny back in the ring, saying that all fans can do is hope Pacquiao manages to avoid serious injury once he steps in the ring again. Famed broadcaster Jim Lampley also expressed his sadness over reports that Manny Pacquiao is set to return in July against Mario Barrios. Speaking on Chris Mannix's podcast, Lampley said that while he understood Pacquiao's desire to return at the age of 46, He felt it was sad that the soon-to-be Hall of Famer had chosen to come back.
However, on the other hand, fighters fight. It's what they do. Hey, Jim Lampley was gone for 6 years. Was it stupid for him to choose to come back and fall a fight? Was it a risk? Was there a possibility that he could embarrass himself?
It's just sad that Pacquiao feels any reason or urge whatsoever to return. But on the other hand, fighters fight. It's what they do. The broadcaster, who recently returned to call the fights that took place in Times Square a few weeks ago, compared his situation to that of the Filipino boxer, saying, "I was back doing something I love and getting paid for it. So I understand why Manny wants to come back and do something he loves and get paid for it. But it's one thing to talk into a microphone when you've been away for a few years and are a little older. It's an entirely different thing to go in and hit and get hit."
Embarrass himself and fall on his face. Are there some viewers and listeners out there who think that's exactly what he did? Sure, that's possible. But I was back doing something I love and I was getting paid for it. So I understand why Manny wants to come back and do something he loves and get paid for it. But it's one thing to talk into a microphone when you've been a few years away and you're a little bit older. It's entirely a different thing to go in and hit and get hit.
Manny Pacquiao, who will be 46 on August 2nd, is reported to be facing WBC welterweight champion Mario Barrios later this year, a situation seemingly supported by the Filipino's new ranking at number 5 in the World Boxing Council's latest standings. This ranking makes him eligible to challenge for the sanctioning body's belt. The former multiple-weight world champion last fought in August 2021, when he lost a unanimous decision to Cuban Yordenis Ugas for the World Boxing Association belt. Since then, Pacquiao has participated in exhibition bouts against DKU in December 2022 and kickboxer Rukia Anpo in July 2024. Ugas, who was 26 at the time, fell out of title contention soon after with 2 subsequent losses.
He made ungodly, indescribable sums of money. So I wish it were enough. But I'm not surprised that it isn't. You can't be surprised that it isn't. There's nothing in the world. Way back when Ray Leonard was having trouble retiring, and I was friends with Ray, I asked him one time, in the closest, most intimate kind of friendship way, I said, "Ray, why?"
While the first of those losses was a 10-round stoppage to Errol Spence Jr. in 2020, Barrios then dropped a wide unanimous decision to Mario Barrios in September 2023. Barrios, born February 1, 1994, hails from San Antonio, Texas, and won the interim World Boxing Council title against Ugas. He has since defended it against Fabian Andres Maidana, 24-4-4, and Abel Ramos, June 2, 1988. After winning a unanimous decision over Maidana, Barrios labored to a draw against Ramos. While nothing is yet confirmed, the volume of talk and rumors in the last week about a Pacquiao return strongly suggests such a fight is in the works. On his podcast, Teddy Atlas voiced his concerns for Pacquiao given his age, how he looked in his last fight versus Yordenis Ugas in 2021, and his exhibition bout against Rukia Anpo in 2024. "I'm very concerned."
One of my favorite people, one of my favorite fighters in the whole world. He's moved up from incredible weight. People forget about that. That's why I brought it up. How many weight classes this man has really moved up. Incredible. Just incredible. But now, yeah, Barrios wouldn't be as big as those other guys, but he's still a guy that's confident. He's a guy that's a world champion. He's a guy who throws a lot of punches. He's a guy who's younger, who's active.
Teddy Atlas expressed his concerns about Manny Pacquiao fighting at 46 years old, saying, "I don't want to stop anyone from making a living or making money, but I'm very concerned about a great man who has helped his people, fought for his people, lifted them up, and given away money to them, now having to fight at 46 after 72 fights." Pacquiao looked his age in a unanimous decision loss to Yordenis Ugas, who was a late replacement for former unified welterweight champion Errol Spence Jr., who withdrew due to an eye injury sustained in training. The former 8-division champion also struggled greatly in his exhibition bout against Rukia Anpo, a kickboxer. Meanwhile, Mario Barrios, 30, faced Ugas in 2023, dropping him twice on the way to winning the WBC decision.
I know You can't go by this guy beat this guy, but he could beat that guy, but he could beat this guy, but you can't go by that in my business, in this business, because styles make fights. But you're right. Beat Ugas. You could say Ugas was a little older than when he fought him a little bit, than when Pacquiao fought him, and maybe that made a difference, whatever. Did take a lot of punishment, Pacquiao, in the Ugas fight. I thought that Pacquiao, for his age,
Mario Barrios defended the interim title once by defeating Fabian Maidana on May 4, 2024, before being elevated to full titleist after Terence Crawford vacated the belt following his move up to 154 pounds. In his lone defense of the World Boxing Council welterweight title, Barrios fought to a draw against Abel Ramos on June 15th, on the undercard of Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul. Keith Thurman is another common opponent between Pacquiao and Barrios. Pacquiao defeated Thurman by split decision on July 20, 2019, to win the WBA super welterweight title, while Thurman beat Barrios via a one-sided unanimous decision on February 5, 2022. Teddy Atlas vouched for Pacquiao's ability to jump right back into a world title shot because of his career accomplishments, and believes facing Barrios is Pacquiao's best chance to become the second oldest champion in boxing history.
at that moment, even though he lost the fight, even though he took punishment, I thought he performed as well as he could. I thought he performed well. I really did. I have to say the truth. I thought he performed well for what he could do at that weight and at that point in his life. But I also thought after that fight, he should probably think about leaving, because he performed as well as he could.
Still, the Hall of Fame trainer believes it's an uphill climb for Pacquiao given his age, the wear and tear he's accumulated, and how long it's been since he fought in a sanctioned match. "I just think you're playing with fire," Atlas said. "That's all. You can move around, navigate a little bit, say this, say that. But there comes a certain point with everything where no matter how much you move the furniture around, you still know what room you're in. You can't fool yourself, and he's in a room where he's 46 years old with 72 fights. Boxing has incredible comeback stories throughout its history, perhaps the most impressive being George Foreman, who took 10 years off shortly after his 28th birthday, and then fought until the age of 48. That story has clearly resonated with Manny Pacquiao, who is set to return to the ring at 46.
Feel sorry for him. But at 46, almost 47, it's almost impossible for, I'm just 4 years, 4 years older than him. It's not easy to try to think you're going to get in shape and be able to perform like the way you were.
Making matters more difficult is Pacquiao's weight class and the long layoff he's had. Foreman was a heavyweight, and boxers tend to age more gracefully in that division. Pacquiao's comeback at 46 has therefore raised eyebrows, with fans questioning whether it's a smart decision to return at this age. Former champion and commentator Shawn Porter has now shared his take on the upcoming fight, reminding fans that despite his age, Pacquiao is still the legendary Manny Pacquiao, and believes his speed can get the job done against Barrios.
I don't think Pac has the punch resistance to get in the ring with Boots anymore. Once upon a time, that would have been an amazing fight based on who Boots is now and based on who Pac used to be. Pac just ain't that guy no more. Mario, too slow, takes too many punches. But as far as that fight goes, man, I'm at the point now, I hate to see some of these guys come back and get in the ring. It's what they want to do.
Speaking on the Porter Way podcast, the Hall of Famer said, "It's so hard because he is Manny Pacquiao, right? So it is what it is. He's either going to come to the ring and be fast enough to get off the stuff he used to get off on. And if he does, he clocks him and knocks him out. What I know, without going into deep detail, is that left hand against that right hand. His left hand always gets there quicker than the other guy's right hand. Not only that, Barrios is a forward fighter moving into that left hand, so this is kind of a match made in heaven for Pacquiao. Manny Pacquiao is a true boxing legend with a record of 62 wins and 39 knockouts, but he will have to turn back the clock for his fight against Barrios.
Frank's looking for a hug over here. Frank's looking for a hug.
Another clear positive for Pacquiao heading into this fight is that he has longtime head trainer Freddie Roach back in his corner. This duo has been working together for over 20 years, and Roach's guidance and wisdom have been a key part of Pacquiao's career. It's no surprise that Roach is confident going into the bout against Barrios. In a May 26th interview with Boxing Scene, Roach was asked, "Who do you pick for Pacquiao to fight on his return?" He replied, "We're going for one fight. We're going for the best fight. It's somebody that he can dominate, and I think that he can do it." Roach made this statement specifically about Barrios. Hey guys, don't forget to subscribe to my channel for all the latest updates.